All right, here we are in Coach's Corner with Coach Eddie Henning, which is now sponsored by True Photography by DJ. DJ takes care of all athletics and other pictures throughout the HOV community, ranging from games, prom, homecoming, and everything in between. Look her up on Facebook at True Photography by DJ. First off, thank you to Danny Davis and Sportscast Media for allowing us to broadcast and bring this Coach's Corner to all of you. Also, big thanks to all the faculty at HLV and Tri-County, ADs Bojack at HLV and Amanda Sowers at Tri-County, HLV Principal Mark Tigler, and HLV Superintendent Brad Hohensee. So, Coach Henning, the HLV TVC War powered by the Iowa Valley Tigers squad, what are some things you can take out of a game like that?
Yeah, obviously, like we said last week, you don't get better playing low-quality opponents, right? You get better as a team for the long run by playing a good team, and we definitely played a good team on Friday. So they definitely deserve where they're at in a lot of the people's rankings. Very physical team, and obviously the great at the basics, great at the fundamentals, and that's what that has propelled them thus far, right? So tough game on the board, but I was very pleased with a lot of the takeaways that we saw, especially later on in the game. I told the kids this is probably the most physical team that we're going to face this year, right? And that's a good barometer to really feel the physicality that it takes to be on that level. And to let you kind of feel what it feels like to be that kind of a guy and to play that way. So I think that was one thing we took away. Again, effort was good. There was no laying down. We were still in the game late into it, working hard. And I think that all the guys would agree, right, that we came away with a lot of fundamental things and technique things that we learned by going against really good kids of either, okay, if I really dial in and do this basic, this works really well. I had success even against this good player, and to see the importance of doing those things, because if I don't do the fundamental and then this happens, it really shows up against a good player like that, right? So lots of strides were made, honestly. Talking to the guys after the game, talking to them yesterday, we're going to be able to build off what we learned there for the rest of the season. So I was pleased to get that for sure.
So going back to physicality, like you said, I know Easton Crum took a shot, Briar Jack took a shot. Tell us about, are we healthy? Are we healthy going into this week or not?
Yeah, so we'll be all right. We've got Tristan that's feeling better. That's going to be on the docket. We've got plenty of kids that are going to be available. So I think we're going to be okay going into this week. You're always going to get more dings and bruises playing a team like that. I think that everybody knows that when you've got a physical team like that, you're going to be pretty sore when you come in 2 or 3 days later, right? So we'll do the adjustments and the recovery that we need to and get people treated up, but we're going to be okay.
Perfect. Again, kind of last week against Waco, you had a couple good drives early on that resulted in interceptions or turnovers. Also had a couple different plays where KO was able to score, but had some penalties. How do you clean up that kind of stuff? And also, how do you like the effort of those kids, even though they got the unnecessary penalties, they're blocking to the whistle, just have to know when you can and can't do that.
Yeah, I love the effort, and everyone that knows me probably knows that I would rather play on the edge of that than the opposite, right? So I don't mind playing on the edge of wanting to go a little bit extra, but right, we got to be smart about when we're going to make those plays. Again, like we kind of had last week, we had a lot of success moving the ball, doing things. We put some good drives together. It was just finishing those things and not bringing those big plays back that we had. One of them was probably here or there kind of a call. The other one probably deserved the penalty. Yeah, it's just being smart, but also being in the moment, right? So we want to play on edge. We want to get those blocks, but some of it is just making sure we're mentally locked in to know the situational football when we're going to try to throw those blocks.
Yeah, I would say the Sean one was probably, I mean, you look back on a film, you're like, oh, that was a good hit. I can't be mad at you for that. The one later on against the 24, I think Xavier Peterson for them, that's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have made that one. But it is what it is. Like you said, you want to play on the edge and make the ref. And in that situation, you were down, the kids are playing to the whistle, and that's what you want to.
Yep.
So this Coach's Corner is brought to you by True Photography by DJ. DJ takes care of all athletics and other pictures throughout the HCV community, ranging from games, prom, homecomings, and everything in between. Look her up on Facebook at True Photography by DJ. So we'll transition into this week. We got Easton Valley Riverhawks. I think they're 4-0. Preview how you think the game will go against them. They only have 14 players on their roster.
Yeah, for sure. Smaller roster, and obviously they're not an Iowa Valley. They are not an Iowa Valley or a Waco. But, they put up some impressive numbers this year. They've got a pretty good passing attack. Their quarterback has a good arm, good decision maker, and he's pretty elusive. So, he can work his way through the pocket and give teams fits with his scramble yards just as much as his arm. And they've got a great receiver as well. Where I think our opportunities are going to lie, right, is using our depth, using, all 4 quarters to utilize that, as well as doing what we can to get pressure on the quarterback, but also put them out of position of what they want to go to, right? Their receivers are good at finding space and just finding where the gap is in the defense, sitting down and taking the pass. So we're going to have to be really, really, really tightened up with our fundamentals on pass coverage, as well as making sure that he doesn't have all day to throw, right? So we've got some scheme things that we can throw in this week to maybe muddy the water for those guys a little bit and give them a different look than maybe they're expecting. As well as, capitalize up front with, we're not going to be outsized necessarily this week across the board up front. So hopefully we can have a big week on offense as well as being able to give them some competition on defense too.
Yeah, so you kind of hit on that. Senior Keegan Lee leads the way for the Riverhawks with a whopping 18 passing touchdowns and 1 interception. This will be a true test of your passing defense. You got to hit on that. But still have to stay disciplined up front, contain Lee because, like you said, he's shifty, he's elusive. And I said, how are you going to prepare for the passing game? You kind of hit on that, so we'll just kind of skip that one. But how are the kids handling homecoming week, and how can they get hyped to pull off the upset this week?
Yeah, being around a lot of homecomings now, it's always a lot of fun. There's lots of activities. There's fun stuff at school. But the other thing is, right, you're breaking out of your regular routines. Just like tonight we had to go longer because tomorrow we have to go shorter for the parade. And all the stuff at school is different. There's lots of stuff to talk about, right? So I think that the biggest focus for us, right, is coming into this week, enjoy all of that, enjoy the celebration. But when we come into practice and it's time to sit down and study film, or when we're out here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, this has got to be where your feet are at, right? We got to be focused in and dialed in on what we're doing, working on a short week as far as our schedule with all the other distractions. So I think we're handling that pretty well so far, but it's got to be a continuing thing that we got to do, right? And I mean, as far as getting hyped up, we ought to be hyped up right away, right? We're finally getting our first game here in Victor of the year. Feels like it's been forever, so it's going to be a true homecoming for real. I know the guys are excited to play at home. We've got an opponent coming up that if we play to our potential, if we take the flashes that we've shown all season and put it together into a consistent game and get those fundamentals, get that focus for 48 minutes, for 4 quarters, we should be able to have some success and make it a great ball game and a really fun homecoming to be a part of. So I think the guys know that we've got a challenge up ahead, but it's an attainable challenge. So we just got to meet it head on.
Right, and that's another way to get hyped up. They're 4-0 coming in. They kind of stomped a district opponent, Winfield Mount Union, first game of the year. So it's a way to kind of put everybody on notice. I mean, you're later in the year. You've gone through some of your heavy hitters at the beginning of the year. So this kind of put the second half of the year on notice for everybody else in the district. So we know this is your first year as a head coach here for the HLVTC Warriors, but tell us about the seniors and how they have bought into everything and how much they've helped make this transition from assistant to head coach. I'll name the seniors real quick, and then you can kind of talk about them. You got Boston Rorta, Keegan Gorsh, Landon Ankrum, Chase Harriman, Hunter Bracklesberg, Hayden Schaefer, Davian Thompson, and I think it's Corey Levine or Levin.
Yep.
Levine. Okay, go ahead and talk about those guys.
Yeah, for sure. So it's kind of fun because these guys would have been the freshmen my first year coaching when I was a volunteer assistant with these guys. So this is kind of the first group to see them get all the way from beginning to end, through the program. As far as transition and doing the changes and this new era that we're looking to put into place and this new mindset, they've been great assets, even from before the season started, kind of getting a vibe check, right? Getting a pulse on the team, where we were, what was going to be effective to get done what we wanted to get done. They've been great resources to go to and get that information, and for the most part, have done a really nice job of taking these team initiatives that are going to be challenging to our former habits and be challenging to the way we're used to doing things, and helping to implement that, right? It's not easy to start. getting to start the transition from being a coach-led team to a player-led team. But I've been proud of the strides that the guys have made. I've been proud of the strides that they've made on effort and the way that they're approaching the game, for sure.
Awesome. That helps you out so much. You and the coaching staff being, like you said, green at the beginning of the year. Just having the seniors buy in, like you said, being a player-led team. We'll talk a little bit more about the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen later on this year. But thanks a lot for your time, Eddie, and best of luck this Friday. We'll do this every Wednesday. We had to do this one tonight, Tuesday, because we have homecoming parade tomorrow. Do you have pep rally tomorrow too?
Yes.
Yep. So it's going to be, like you said, a busy night, busy week. We'll be live each week on the WarriorCast, and I'll also repost on my YouTube and share the HWTC Facebook athletics site. HWTC will be home for, like you said, true homecoming versus the Eastern Valley Riverhawks. Reminder, Zach Geringer, Zach Schrapp, and I will be live on the WarriorCast starting at 6:45 with kickoff at 7. Thanks again to Danny Davis and Sportscast Media for allowing us to do this each and every week. And also big thanks to our sponsor, True Photography by DJ. DJ takes care of all the athletics and other pictures throughout the HLV community, ranging from games, prom, homecomings, and everything in between. Look her up on Facebook at True Photography by DJ. Thank you, Warrior fans, and I hope you tune in Friday for a listen.